Are you a female entrepreneur looking to grow your business and secure your financial future, but feeling a little overwhelmed by taxes and money management? Stay tuned as we dive into simple strategies that can help you keep more of your hard earned money and build a lasting wealth. Welcome back. And hey, if you're new here, I'm Jen Vasquez, and I help hyper busy female service providers to market their business with Pinterest so that they can book more clients, boost their income, and make a bigger impact. And on this podcast, I have the pleasure of bringing in experts to interview and get actionable tips to help you master marketing without the overwhelm. We're going to be going a little off topic. It's a little bit off of marketing, but I feel like it's so important that we're going to just dive into it. And if all of that sounds like something that you'd really love, then definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel or the podcast. Today, I am so excited to be chatting with Dr. Sherry Peel Jackson of SPJ Consulting. Dr. Sherry is a retired IRS agent, CPA, and certified fraud examiner who has helped over 100,000 individuals and businesses keep, protect, and grow their earnings using her proprietary KPG system. With over 35 years of experience, Sherry is an expert in tax reduction and wealth building through her speaking, books, and consulting. She empowers people to achieve financial freedom and legacy. Welcome, Dr.
Thank
Jackson.
you so much for having me, Jen.
That's so great. I've been in marketing in corporate America prior to launching this business in 2018. And during in the beginning of my career, I actually worked for Ernst and Young.
Okay.
And so I'm very familiar with I'm not very familiar with all of that stuff, but I'm very familiar with supporting a team that's handling all of that for companies. So very excited to have you here because I feel like women tend to start businesses because of a passion to educate or a passion to solve problems, but a passion at some point. The problem is, while they have that passion and maybe that's their expertise and their knowledge, most people do not have a good handle on financials. And when you're running a business, I would say that the largest percentage of businesses failing or closing has to do with money oftentimes. Would you agree?
I would agree. I would agree on that because there's not proper planning up front a lot of times. They just go with the passion, and sometimes that's not enough.
Yeah, and you need to be fiscally conservative when you're running a business because months go up and down when you're an entrepreneur oftentimes in terms of your revenue coming in and you need to save. I always say save for 3 months minimum. 3 months before you start spending.
Right.
All right. So, let's go ahead and dive in with the first question that I typically ask our guests because I find it very intriguing. Tell me how you got to what you're doing today. What were the twists and turns that got you to doing what you're doing today?
Okay. To make a very long story short, when I was a teenager, my father told me I was getting out when I was 18, and that woke me up. And
You're all,
got
oh
me.
no.
Yeah, serious. So he bought a magazine home one day and said, "Here, you need to look at this magazine," and had the top 100 jobs for blacks. And it was a black enterprise magazine. So I was looking at it. Okay, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a lawyer. Oh, I do good in math. I want to be an accountant. So I decided when I was a teenager that when I was
You knew.
in college, I was going to be an accountant. So I got my CPA and I started working for CPA firms. I'm sorry, I got to college and worked for CPA firms. You have to work for a CPA firm 2 years or in industry 5 years back then in order to get your CPA. So I worked for CPA firms for 2 years. It was okay. There were small CPA firms, and I moved on to corporate America after I got the CPA. Didn't like corporate America because, Jen, you've worked in corporate America. You know that a lot of times it's not about what you know, it's about who you know and what you do with who you know. And I wasn't going for that. So my father always taught me that, well, we couldn't but complain in my house. He said, don't complain if you don't like point
Change
A
stuff.
or
Yeah.
point B. So I quit there, and well, before I quit, I was looking and I saw an ad in the paper for internal revenue agent, and I read the description and I said, I think I can do this. So I went to work for the Internal Revenue Service, and I worked there 7.5 years. I quit because of family reasons. I'm a hardline Christian, and my children and I was married at the time. They were suffering because I was working so hard for the government. So I quit and just didn't have another job. People were asking me, "What are you gonna do?" I'm gonna stay home and be June Cleaver. That lasted all of a year. Yeah.
It's what you felt you were called to do, and then you found maybe that wasn't quite the calling that you
It wasn't enough, and that's another thing that we can do more than one thing. So I did go ahead and start my CPA firm, which is putting your shingle out is what they call it. So after a year of staying at home, not doing anything, I started a CPA firm and it went from there. And a lot of things happened in between. So now I'm just consulting. I teach people how to keep, protect, and grow what they earn. If you are an employee and you're saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm doing okay with my salary, but pink slips are coming all over the place and I can't afford to get one. I want to start a home-based business." That's when you come to me. I go from the beginning, actually finding out what it is that you can do because it's not just about passion. I had one lady say, "Oh, I just love to do quilting. I make beautiful quilts and I want that as a business." And I told her, "Sweetheart, we're going to keep that as a hobby because Walmart and Target sell quilts." So the
That's
other
right.
That's right. And so you have to be practical about it. It's not just about what your passion is. The other people that I help are small businesses that are struggling because of the taxes. They don't know how to do their finances, they don't know how to manage taxes, and they're making money, but they're just not able to keep it because of the lack of knowledge concerning finances and the IRS. So, I'm the one that they come to and say, "Hey, I need help with this."
Yeah. As a female service provider, which is the large part of our audience, it can really be challenging to manage both business growth and personal finances. What are some simple yet powerful financial strategies that you would recommend for women looking to grow their businesses while still securing their financial future personally?
Well, I've made this proprietary system called the KPG system. Keep what you earn, protect what you earn, and grow what you earn. I wrote a book called How to Escape the Rat Race: 4 Keys to Acquire the Life of Your Dreams. And the steps in that book are what I'm going to tell you now. Number 1, decrease your expenses. Some of us are living.
That's the quickest
Yes,
way to change finances around, and people always feel like they have to hustle for new business, which of course they need to do. That's part of the
yes,
marketing side of what you need to do,
yes,
but just cutting expenses. I mean, I don't know about you, but I just recently looked at all of my subscriptions that are very hidden and like hard to find in your phone.
yes,
And there's things I was paying for that I haven't looked at in a year.
yeah.
Like that's disappointing.
Yes, yes, and that's the easiest way to get more money is to get rid of the expenses. After you do that, then you need to decrease and eliminate debt. The next thing is, of course, increasing income, and you're already working on that when you have a business, but the other thing is saving and investing. So those 4 steps will get you to the point where you're steady with your income and you're making sure that your business is growing.
Perfect. Many female entrepreneurs really are juggling multiple roles and may be really overwhelmed with managing their finances. What are the top three or even one financial strategy that you recommend to help in reducing the stress and build that lasting wealth?
There's this stair step to wealth that I like to talk about. First of all, to relieve stress, make sure that you have insurance. That's been a key lately. Homeowners insurance, your car insurance, your life insurance, all of these insurances in place so that if something happens that's not favorable, then you have like a safety net. The next thing I call assurance, and you hinted around to it. I tell my clients to save 6 months of expenses
Yeah.
because with the economy swinging like it's been swinging since 2020, you need more than 3 months because things are, you just need to be prepared. So
Yeah.
after your insurance and your assurance, then that's when the savings comes in and that's when the investing comes in. So those in that order, it's a stair step and it'll get you to the point where you're less stressful and more wealthy.
Yes. And probably hiring someone like yourself to help with all of that. If it feels overwhelming and it's something that you're avoiding, it would probably be beneficial to work with somebody to really take an like that eagle eye approach on everything you're doing and give you little tips to help you along the way. I think that's also important.
Yeah, I agree because again, you can spend 10,000 hours learning what I already know and can tell you in 2 hours.
Yeah,
And
and something that would take us like 10 hours to do maybe a tax form would probably take you maybe an hour at the most. Like it's when you're an expert in a situation, you can do things faster, and that's why outsourcing can really save your company sometimes.
agree. Well,
You really emphasize avoiding tax pitfalls. For women running small service-based businesses, what are the most common tax mistakes that they make, and how can they maybe avoid them?
the biggest pitfalls that I see is not keeping up with the records. A lot of businesses are running like a train and they don't stop to keep the receipts, they don't stop to record anything, and it doesn't hit really hard unless they get audited. If you're audited and you don't have your receipts, then all of the gains that you made while you were running are gonna hit a wall, and you're gonna have to end up giving your money back to the government.
Yeah.
One more in that vein, thinking that debit cards and credit cards are okay. The IRS doesn't accept those. That could be anything. You need to keep receipts. Whether you're keeping them like I do on paper because I'm old school, or whether you're keeping them in an app, you need to keep your receipts, not just, oh, here's my debit card and it has all of these charges to Staples. You can get anything from Staples. It may not be business expense related. Also, with that, if you're going to use an app,
True.
yeah, but I'm telling you, Jan, what I've run into with people that have come to me and said, "Oh my god, I'm getting audited," and, they said, "I can't use my debit and credit card." No, you can't. But if you're going to input your receipts, because a lot of people don't like paper, I understand that, especially the younger generation. If you're not gonna keep the receipts and you're gonna key them in, make sure that you have an external flash drive somewhere else besides your computer, because I've had people with their computer went down and all of those receipts for all of the years that were in question, they were gone in that system.
Yeah, I save them in 2 different Google Drives just in case
Yes,
because I don't wanna mess around.
yes, yes, yes.
You've really built a strong following on social media. How can women, use platforms like Instagram, Facebook to not only market their services, but also build financial security and legacy?
When you're out on social media, the thing that is most important for you to do is to give value to that marketplace. Give them free information, give them valuable information. They learn to love and trust you when you tell them things and not want to charge for every little thing. So as you're out there, give them advice that will help them. They will come for you when they need you. They will come and say, "Hey, I trust her because she told us all this free information on, YouTube or Facebook.
Yes.
So I'm going to get in touch with her and I'm going to see if she can help me with this problem." And at the same time, as you're growing your social media, then the social media platforms will pay you. So you will actually get resources from YouTube.
Another stream of income.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Exactly.
Smart, smart. Debt can often feel like a weight around a business owner's neck. What are some practical steps that you would recommend for women to sort of start working on clearing that debt to achieve some financial freedom?
Okay. So there's good debt and bad debt. We're talking about the bad debt that you just went out and spent stuff on. Business debt is okay as long as you're making the resources to pay that off and that grows your business. But when you spent money and you have this debt, and I just tell people what I did, and I had debt when I was a younger person, and I used what's called the snowball method to get rid of the debt. I started throwing every extra little dime I had on the smallest debt.
That gives you I've done that before, and that gives you a feeling of you're doing something and the mountain's not so high that you're like out of control.
Yes, yes. It gives you momentum, it really does, and once that's paid, you use those funds that you were using for that smallest one to go for the second one, and that really I used to do a ceremony when I would pay off a credit card. I would cut it into 4, throw it down in the garage, and do a dance on it, and it was over, until I got all of those cards paid off and got rid of them because I realized I don't need all these cards, I just need a Visa or a MasterCard, you know?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is that you just gave me a great visual. I
Yes.
love it so
Yes.
much. Okay, so for women who are maybe just starting their businesses, what are most critical financial mistakes to avoid in those first year or so?
They need to avoid getting ahead of themselves. One of the mistakes that I see is when the money starts coming in, it starts going out to the wrong things. So, unfortunately, I've seen people start a business that took off really well and they went to get a new car or, they put down on a new house. That's not where it should go. It should go into savings and right back into the business while the business grows. So that's the biggest newcomer financial mistake that I've seen. They they usually get kind of the wrong advice from people concerning the business. You gotta pay attention. You have to know something about accounting when you have a business. You can't just depend on somebody else, but the little bit that you know should include the fact that when funds come in, you pay yourself first and then you pay your bills second. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and
Yes.
it basically says the way to get wealthy is to save 20% of what you earn. So even if you're really enthusiastic about starting and growing your business, when you're first starting, especially, still save at least 10. It's kind of hard these days to save 20, but at
Yeah.
least save 10% for yourself. And that's not, and another thing they do is they don't put emergency funds aside. If you
Yes.
have a 15-year-old washer and dryer, that's not an emergency, Jen. You knew that you were gonna have to replace that soon, so start putting money aside for that, and I've seen
Yes.
examples of that. So these are little things, but they're so important.
Let's go ahead and talk about because this just popped up to me. Oftentimes, people will say, like, "I have this business idea. When should I leave my day job and make it a full time job?" And some advice out there is like, just go for it or something. And that just makes me want to vomit because even if they're successful, it's a huge struggle if you're not prepared first. Like, you want to have money in the bank, a money in an account as an emergency before you give that notice for your job to start that new business.
Yes. First of all, I think it's cringy for somebody to say, "You have an idea, just quit and go for it." Even when you
Like,
have a
come
business,
on.
don't
Yeah.
quit and go for it. Most of my clients have full-time jobs. Let's say they work 9 to 5. They get off work, they take time to decompress, they spend time with their family, and then in the evening, they do their home-based business, and on the weekends. So the people that I know that literally quit their jobs, it's after 3 years of success.
Yeah, yes. Like if you have a if your income is relied upon in your family to support your life, then you need to make at least that much in your business before you leave your full-time job.
Consistently.
I it's so, and even when you're in a full-time business, you talk about saving 20%. I think that's so important and I try to save 30% in case my tax number's off or in case. And there was in 2020 a reason why I did that because at the time I was a full-time photographer and we couldn't photograph people. We were stuck, and I'm in the Bay Area.
Oh,
So we were the longest without work,
yes, you were.
and it's very expensive on this coast and on both coasts. And so if I hadn't had that oh shit fund is what I call it. If I hadn't had that, it would have been a really scary time.
Yes, I agree, and thinking about the overall picture of starting a business, I I pray that they all sit down with somebody and go from A to Z with a whole plan. You just
Yes.
can't just say, "Oh, I have this great idea. I know it's gonna work." You haven't even tested it in the marketplace. For example, I see people that say that they wanna do certain things. "I got a degree in this and I wanna do this." No, you go into the marketplace and see what they want. A lot of the business
Correct.
failures, because of that. they fail because they're trying to offer what they have instead of what the marketplace wants.
And also, like, I've heard, like, a lot of people doing things like, social media influencing or digital products. And what the people that are telling everyone how great this business is, I'm not saying it's not, and people do make money from it. What I'm saying is it is work. People try to say it's like, no work, and there is no such thing.
Yeah.
And secondly, it takes a long time if your digital product is $15, because that's what the market is going to support. You're going to need a lot of those sold to be able to make a full-time income. So
Yes.
you have to consider timing as well. So I would recommend to go meet with someone like Dr. Jackson and say, okay, this is my situation. This is what I'm making. This is my financial situation. This is how much I have in savings. When do you think it's a good time? Like, talk to an expert who's going to be conservative on your benefit, on your behalf. Oh, so, so, so good. All right. So we're getting toward the end of this interview. You've already given us so much great content. But now I want to ask what I typically ask all my guests. What are three things that have helped you to grow your business? And this could be tools, it could be advice, it could be literally anything. What are the three most important things in your mind?
Okay, the 3 things that have helped me grow my business. Let me think about this. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
And we've got editors, so you can
okay,
take your time if you want to.
okay, so it's mostly advice. Number 1, time is infinitely more valuable than money.
Amen to that.
We are not to use our time doing the simple task. Hire somebody to do that. Hire. I have, a couple of contractors to do things that I don't know how to
Nice.
do. I don't need to be taking that 1,000 hours trying to figure out how to upload something. I just go and call Sean or go and call Byron and say,
Just
"Can you do this?" Because my time is more valuable making plans to help my clients. So number 1, time is infinitely more valuable than money. The second one would be, let's see, make money faster than you spend it. Now, that's very important because
that's so simple, but it's like a really big statement.
it is because think about we spend money every day. I have an electric bill, I have a gas bill. At least once a week I'm going to the gas station and all these other things that we're paying for, food every day. And we've gotta make money faster than we spend it, or we'll never get wealthy. That was a
Correct.
piece of advice that made me I was never really a procrastinator, but it made me even less of a procrastinator when I
More focused. It made you way more
exactly,
focused. Yeah, I,
more
I would
focused.
agree with that.
Yes, it gives you a swift kick in the behind, that's what it does. And the last one I would say, as my business grows or as anybody's business grows, they need to understand that cash flow is infinitely more important than cash accumulation. When I say that, I mean it's people are running around saying, "Oh, I have $200,000 in the bank," or "I have $800,000 in a IRA," and stuff like that, and I have, my house is worth $500,000 and I only paid 100,000 and I'm looking at them like, "Okay, so it's just sitting there drying up like the Dead Sea." Taking the cash that has been accumulated to make more money is smart. For example, I have a home. I bought that home at the bottom of the market, right at 2013 when it's before it started to go back up. I have equity in that home. What did I do? I took the equity out and made an apartment in my basement. That
So
person
smart.
moved in 2020 and has paid my mortgage since 2020. So that cash
Wow.
accumulation that I had in my house, I use that. Another one would be if you get a home equity loan. I've gotten a home equity loan and bought more real estate. So it's not a good thing necessarily to have cash accumulated somewhere. I mean, you might be able to stick your chest out, but other people that are smart are looking at you like, poor thing, you need to be using that cash. So that has helped me because I have real estate here in Georgia and internationally. So that's what we do when we start our businesses and they grow. We need to spread out and make sure that we have a footprint in other places and that we're using our cash after our insurance and assurance and savings and making sure that we can fix the washer and dryer or buy a new one immediately. Then we go after hard assets, silver, gold, and real estate. And I don't invest in anything that can disappear in a blink of an eye. I don't blame other people for doing stocks, bonds, IRAs, 401ks, but I've learned that they're controlled. So I want to hold it in my hand or I want to put my
Mhm.
bare feet on it.
I like that. I like that so much. It's the difference between living well and building a financially secure future for your generation, not just even yourself.
Yes, that's
I love
legacy.
that.
That's legacy.
Before we get to the gift that you are sharing with our audience, tell everyone about the services that you provide so that in case anyone's thinking right now, oh my gosh, I totally need Dr. Jackson's help.
So I do hourly. I do 1 hour consultations all the way up to 1 year. I do have 1 year clients that say, I want to start a business. I want to like one of them is writing 2 books. Since I've written 9 books, I'm the expert in book writing. So I get these clients and I hold their hands. They're the ones who want to start businesses. Some of them are employees, some of them are just at home. And my specialty, of course, is how to stick it to the IRS, which is the name of my flagship book. If someone is saying, "Oh my God, I got an audit letter and I don't know what to do," they'll call me and then we'll get through that because I work behind the scenes. I don't represent people before the IRS, but I help you behind the scenes.
Yeah, to be prepared for that appointment.
Exactly, exactly. So I love
Yeah.
I love helping people start businesses and helping people grow businesses. I've had several clients that had businesses and they were stuck. They didn't know how to grow or at least how to reduce their taxes. So I love that.
Yes, and we'll have all of Dr. Jackson's contact information, the freebie that she's going to be sharing, and also all of her books so that you guys can go ahead and grab them up. Now, tell everyone what your freebie is and how it can help our audience.
My freebie today is something simple. It's a video. It's called, well, the website for it is keepprotectgrow.com. And it kind of tells you a little bit about my story to get you familiar with who I am, but it also talks about different tax deductions and different ways that you can make sure that you steer clear of the IRS and any other predators. So it's keepprotectgrow.com. And it's a video. I was in Acapulco right before they shut us down for COVID. It was February 2020. And I was speaking for a group in Acapulco, and that video's from that particular event.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. I know everyone's going to love that. And thank you so much for your valuable advice, but more importantly, for your time today, because we've already discovered that time is money. And if everyone listening or watching found some ideas and tips that you can implement in your business, we would love for you to leave a review. Now, go out there and do something good for your business, like snagging Dr. Jackson's gift and taking action. So snag that gift, but put some time on your calendar to watch that video and then some more time on your calendar to start implementing what you're doing and take baby steps. I always say this, work on your accounting
Yes.
week by week or month by month. Do not wait till the end of the year
Yeah.
because you will hate yourself for it. I have done this before and I'm refusing to do it anymore. So take that advice for what it's worth
Yes.
and have a great day. Thanks.
Thanks, Jen.